Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome back to a live transfer news video. We're going to be talking all things Chelsea, who's coming in, who's leaving the club, and what are the latest updates regarding Chelsea Football Club at this moment in time. For those of you who are not aware, there's actually an awful lot of discussion about players who are leaving, meaning that there could also be the possibility of extra signings coming in if we can get some of those other players out of the door. For those of you who saw the thumbnail, obviously Disasi, Chukwuemeka, Ben Chilwell, these are all players that are in discussions to leave the club. And this would be beneficial for all parties because we know that those three players in particular, they don't really have a future. And Maresca has given Disasi a chance in the Conference League. We know he's not good enough to play as a right back. He's not good enough to play in a system like what we're playing at the moment. Just lacks the pace and the technical ability, if I'm totally honest. And then you've got Chukwuemeka and Ben Chilwell who haven't even been given a chance. I think Chukwuemeka is more than capable of playing in the system, but Maresca obviously doesn't, and that's fine. So let's go through it. Without further ado, massive shout out to CFC Pies as well as Absolute Chelsea, keeping us posted as well with some of the latest articles. We've also got some, breaking news as well. Let's go straight into it. Borussia Dortmund submit a loan offer for Renato Vega. Proposal includes option to buy and have agreed to pay a loan fee plus cover the full salary. And this has just come out right now. So Borussia Dortmund, even though it kind of got cleared up with Vega, there was this debate of, is he going to leave? Is he going to stay? The club said, you're not going to leave on loan. But even still, Dortmund seem very keen on this player, but they have submitted a loan deal. It's not a full proposal. It does have the option to buy, not the obligation, but we don't know at this moment in time what that option is. This has come from Patrick Berger, who's a Sky reporter. They'd cover his wages of about £4 million. That's what he's on at the moment. Chelsea is currently evaluating Dortmund's offer. Well, I think that's a straight rejection. I can't see anything happening there. It makes no sense to get rid of Vega. Let's just say Chukwuemeka got injured. You need Vega. Just like you need another striker. You need cover. If Jackson's injured, we're in big trouble. We want goal scorers only. Big up to you, HA. I hope you are doing very, very well. Guys, if you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. We've got a number of things we can delve into. A couple of articles as well from The Athletic regarding some of the moves that are happening at Chelsea at the moment, as well as ongoing updates from Twitter as well. Let's start off with something from Everton. Everton, there's a couple of things we can touch on there. Everton's Armando Broja is out for up to 12 weeks and could return to Chelsea, says David Moyes. So the Everton loanee Armando Broja is set to be out for 10 to 12 weeks after sustaining ankle ligament damage. Manager David Moyes has suggested Broja could return to parent club Chelsea due to the injury. During Everton's third-round FA Cup match against Peterborough United, Broja went down injured after a challenge from the defender Emmanuel Fernandez. The striker, who had come on as a substitute, appeared to be in significant pain and was given oxygen on the pitch before being taken off on a stretcher and replaced by Jesper Lindstrom. After going for a couple of scans, Broja is set for a spell on the sidelines in a blow to David Moyes, who was recently appointed Everton manager for a second time. After Everton's 1-0 loss against Aston Villa on Wednesday, Moyes said what the time frame of the injury, he said that the time frame of the injury could mean he'd return to Stamford Bridge. And they think he's going to be out for around 10 to 12 weeks. So obviously it is an ankle ligament. It will probably mean there is a possibility that he'll go back to Chelsea, and that's according to the Everton manager. Broja joined Everton on loan from Chelsea in the summer, but did not make his debut for the side until the 4th of December as a result of an Achilles injury. So he already had an injury. He came back from that, and now he's had another one with his ankle ligament. So it's not looking great for Broja. He's only 23 years old. He's come through the Chelsea academy, and he's made 26 league appearances for the side, scoring 2 goals. He previously spent time on loan at Southampton. He scored 6 out there, and then he went to Fulham as well. But he's always had problems with injuries, hasn't he? He's had so many problems. He was sidelined for 9 months after an anterior cruciate ligament in December 2022. So we've got another injury-prone player in our squad, a player that we can't count on to stay fit. So he clearly doesn't have a future at Chelsea. He doesn't have a future at Everton based on the comments of David Moyes. So I think our best option really is to get him back to fitness and just move him on. But who's gonna pay a good fee for the guy? I think there was a time where Southampton probably would have paid 20 million for him. And you look at that now, you'd take 20 million in a heartbeat. But we're not going to get that for him now. I think you'd be lucky to get, honestly, I'm looking at this player, you'd be lucky to get 10, 15 million would be still a good deal. But it won't happen. I just don't think it will. Keep Chalobah and sign a top striker to compete with Jackson. I'm a fan of keeping Chalobah, and I agree. We should sign a striker. Absolutely. King of Kings, Maresca looks clueless. Which manager can replace it? Oh, please don't say that, mate. Please. Have some patience, guys. Have some patience. Everyone says you're a Poch stan. I'm not Maresca out. You just, managers need time. Fucking hell. Yeah, they can make mistakes. Don't get me wrong, but you got to look at things over a longer period. Too early to say anything. Are Juventus smoking on the crack packs? I mean, I don't understand why Juventus would want Disasi. I don't think he'd suit the way they play either, but who knows? But we're going to go into that. Smash the like buttons as well. Big up to you, Brian. Always good to see you, mate. Got just under 200 people here in total. Can we get 50 likes on YouTube? Let me know how many likes we're on. 50 likes on YouTube. And big up to everyone watching on X as well. So we've gone through Armando Broja. That seems like a player that could return to the squad. Everton clearly aren't keen on him. And big up to them. Like, if I was Everton, I probably wouldn't want Broja either. What's the point of paying for the wages if you don't want the player? Another thing came out with regards to Trevor Chalobah. And this is an article from The Athletic. What Trevor Chalobah's return means for Chelsea and for him. Now, obviously, bringing back Chalobah, we have answered the question of which centre-back is going to return to the club or come to the club. There was a number of options floating around. I would have been happy with quite a few of those options, to be fair. I would have been happy with Tomori. I would have been happy with Diomande. I would have been happy with Mark Guehi. And I am happy with Chalobah, but I do think this makes the club look extremely stupid, very silly. And, I mean, I was right all along. I always said Chalobah was arguably the best centre-back at the club. If I'm being totally honest, you know, him and Chilwell, definitely the two standout defenders. I think Chalobah's a better centre-back than Disasi. He's better than Tosin. He's better than Badiashile. He's better than Fofana. Fucking Fofana. Everyone wants to go on about how good Fofana is. Where is he? He's not that good. Oh my God. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. How can you say that? Why did we bring in Fofana when we had Chalobah? We never needed to do that. Like, it's a perfectly good player, and we did this for so many others as well. Like, it's not just like Nathan Ake was another player that we had, and we just got rid of him. And I never understood it. I never understood why we did it. He was good when he played for us. So this is not brand new. This is not just a Bowley Clearlake situation. Chelsea have always fucked up with good homegrown players. And we've done some good ones as well. We had like Mount and that, and we got good deals. And that's how you should do. You should give the guys a chance. Give them a fucking chance, man. Tomorrow was the same. Why did we get rid of him? He was good enough. And I just think we shoot ourselves in the foot. I understand FFP in the financial aspect, but hang on a second. Doesn't it affect you financially by spending the money on the players in the first place? If you have homegrown talent, I appreciate that you can recoup more money on sales, but you also have to spend money to replace those players, which is what we did. Did it work? No, it didn't. Anyway, let's go from this article on the Athletic about Chalobah. According to sources familiar with the talks who spoke anonymously to The Athletic to protect relationships, Chalobah spoke to Chelsea's co-sporting directors Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart, and separately to Maresca before it was confirmed that his parent club were recalling him. All three offered him assurances that he would have a meaningful first-team role to play at Chelsea over the remainder of the season. Chalobah, understandably, was reluctant to return to merely fill out Maresca's squad, while his fellow centre-backs Wesley Fofana and Badia Shil remained sidelined by injury. He had established himself as a valued starter for Palace, part of a three-man defence alongside Maxence Lacroix and Mark Gurhey, helping provide a stable foundation to push manager Oliver Glasner's team clear of the Premier League relegation zone. Those 12 Premier League appearances for Palace have given Chalobah fresh career momentum, as well as going a long way towards re-establishing his value as a fine Premier League centre-back. Chelsea's main aim in sending him on loan there once it became... their main aim was to send him on loan once it became clear that no permanent transfer was feasible. So we all know why he was sent on loan. It was to prop up his transfer value, take his wages off the books, and then he would be in a better position to be sold, considering that he was a player actually playing. Like with any player, your value will go up if you're playing well compared to if you're not playing well. So when he comes back to Chelsea, Chalobah is going to wear the number 23. His old number 14 has been taken away and given to João Felix, and that's not going to change. Chelsea's decision to recall him to the first team squad only 5 months later has been perceived by many outsiders as a tacit admission of an embarrassing error of squad planning by Winstanley and Stewart. But that is not the way it is being perceived within the club's hierarchy. Last summer, the evaluation of Chalobah was that he would at the very least be behind Levi Colwill and Fofana in Maresca's centre-back pecking order, with Badia Shil, Tosin and Disasi also competing for first-team minutes, and Achimpong, an emerging contender from the club's Cobham Academy, who requires room to grow. The fundamental evaluation of Chalobah has not changed. What has changed are the circumstances. Fofana and Badia Shil will both miss basically the majority of the season, the remaining season. Fofana will definitely be out for the whole thing, if I'm honest, because he'll fucking get injured again. And obviously we need to refine that centre-back position. Chelsea believe loaning out Chalobah in the summer was the right decision then, and recalling him early is the right decision now, even if it invites criticism. In his absence, Achimpong has been persuaded to sign a long-term contract, following a rather messy process, and earned a real Premier League minutes playing alongside Chilwell. So that's a very good point, to be fair. So what they're saying, well, you can see, you obviously know what they're saying. Would Achimpong have signed a new contract if Chalobah was in the team? And that is a very good point. And I think there's a chance that he wouldn't have signed the deal if Chalobah was, because then you're literally looking at all these defenders you're competing against, and you say, where am I going to get into this team? And it's a very fair point. So actually, when you look at it from that perspective, it's not so bad. But I will continue, not to say that this decision doesn't deserve criticism. It absolutely does. Those opportunities for Achimpong to play against Palace and Bournemouth presented themselves in part because Maresca has not been entirely convinced by Tosin or Disasi, with the latter expected to leave Chelsea before the winter window closes on February the 3rd. More minutes could come the 18-year-old's way between now and May, but all parties are also mindful of the need to manage his development carefully. Chalobah gives Maresca another more experienced option, and we do need more experience. These are tough times, and you need to look. And you got the young players that are going to lean on players who have been through this before. We don't have Thiago Silva in the squad. We lost a lot of we lost a big character in there. I know Tosin has almost filled that void, but he hasn't filled that void, if you know what I mean. Thiago Silva does this, and Tosin offers something, but it's probably not even half of what Silva gives, because not only was Silva a great character in the dressing room, on top of a winner, experienced, but also he was good enough to play in the first team, and he was by far our best centre-back. So when you look at Tosin and you add it all up, Tosin might have the dressing room aspect, and he's a good character, but he's not in the first team consistently, and he's not a winner. You know, he hasn't done that. So we're looking at an experienced player, but it's totally different. Anyway, but yeah, he'll get a real chance, Chalobah, in this team. So yeah, let's see what the comments are saying. Wesley, my friend, this is a live video, so I'm going to talk about everything. But if you don't want to talk about everything, that's fine. We will be talking about as much as we can. Let's see what we're saying in the chat. Get Delap in. Here's another Man City youth product. He is friends with Palmer, Noni, Sancho. He's young, fast, can hold the ball up, and can finish with both feet. I completely agree. I think Delap would be a great signing. Hugo says Maresca has been found out. I'm not sure about this. I don't understand what this whole Maresca out thing is. I don't know if it's a joke or if people are actually serious about it. Like you do have to understand that managers make mistakes and things aren't perfect. Like, we are absolutely in the race for top four. People, I spoke to the phone. I spoke to one of my friends, Ricky, who goes to the games. I spoke to him today. He thinks we're going to finish 7th the way we're going at the moment. I went, Ricky, mate, hang on a second. We were having a title chat a few weeks ago. What are you talking about? You don't think we're going to finish in the top 4? I mean, my opinion on that is, on the striker situation, is I think it would be a good thing to do, bringing in another striker. But I do think we can finish top 4 with Jackson. I absolutely believe that. There's nothing to say that we can't finish top 4 with him, because you're going to get goals from other parts of the pitch. But if we're going to bring another striker in, that's obviously going to help us. Of course it is. But I mean, if Jackson slips off and continues to slip, we're having a different conversation. But where I am right now, this is a guy who had an exceptional start. He was bloody brilliant. He was fantastic. And he's had a dip, all right? He's not performed. Well, he has performed, because he was actually one of our best players against Bournemouth. But he hasn't scored as many goals, and people are getting onto his back. But, you know, without Jackson, Palmer doesn't score that goal. So I don't understand this whole narrative of he's not contributing. He got an assist. It's not like he's not offering anything. He literally got the assist for Palmer to score that goal. So I think it's a very lazy argument to just say, well, he's not scoring his shit. I think it's very lazy. Jackson makes life easier for his teammates. He's better defensively than we had with Nkunku. He's not as good at finishing as Nkunku. I agree with that. But Nkunku's not going to be part of this squad. We all know that. Right. Let's continue, people. Let's continue. So we know what the crack is with Chalobah. Also, an update regarding Mathis Tel. It's there's been a few updates, to be fair. This one is from a couple of hours ago. It's about his strange limbo that he's going through in his career at the moment. Obviously, with Tel at the moment, he's only 19 years old. He's a bloody great talent. He's a fantastic player, a good prospect. But the issue is he's not been seen this season. He's only had 2 starts in the Bundesliga in 24-25. Recently, he played against Borussia Dortmund. Most recently, against Borussia Dortmund. That was in November. And before Wednesday, he had played just over 350 minutes in club competition, in all competitions. So he's not been featuring. But how can you blame? I'm not going to sit here and say Vincent Kompany's, not seeing a good player, but you got Harry Kane there. You got a better player within your ranks. So, yeah. Let's see what else. Back in autumn, Tel was a loan candidate for several Bundesliga clubs when the January transfer window opened. Chelsea expressed an interest, and there was a suggestion that he could be used as part of a deal to bring Christopher Nkunku back to the Bundesliga, where he excelled for RB Leipzig. Christopher Freund, Bayern Munich's sporting director, tried to end that speculation on Tuesday, telling a press conference that Tel is a very important player for the club. Freund also revealed that Bayern Munich had held discussions with the player regarding his future. He said, and I quote, "He has a great talent who is an important player for us and should play an important role in the future. That is why we had discussions before Christmas. Together with the player and with the agent, we have had repeated discussions now, and the clear goal is for Mathis to make the breakthrough with us. We believe in that. Mathis believes in that. And that is why it is not an issue at the moment for us to be concerned with other things." Now, on the other hand, that is a valuable endorsement at an important time. But there's another side to this, which it doesn't make the development of Christopher Tel from Bayern Munich's perspective any simpler. It's been complicated from the moment that Tel has arrived at Bayern Munich, which was in 2022. And that was just the next stage for a player gliding serenely towards the stratosphere. Bloody hell, they're using some interesting words for this one, aren't they? A year before, in August 2021, he was 16 years old when he became the youngest player in Rennes history. And he inherited that record, which was from Eduardo Camavinga. And we know what he went on to do. Just 50 minutes of Ligue 1 football was enough to convince Bayern Munich to pay 28.5 million euros. So that's 24 million pounds. And 11 months later, he set himself a very high bar when he arrived in Germany. He scored his first goal in August 22. And he was 17 at that time. This is all, yeah, I mean, we know all this stuff. But basically, let me see if there's anything else. I mean, we understand he's a good player. He's a young player. But it's very difficult to see him getting in this squad at the moment. And that's the point of this. I think that's where this discussion becomes a little bit more in depth, because you could say very simply, well, great, he's a good player, he's going to play for Bayern. Where's he going to play? Who's he going to replace? Is somebody else going to go? Because if he's getting minutes instead of bloody Sane might want to leave, or, you know, all these other players. I'm not saying that's actually going to happen. You've got to look at it from that perspective. It's like if we bring Chukwuemeka back into the squad, which I wouldn't have an issue with. I like Chukwuemeka. But where did Chukwuemeka play? Where's he going to play? His best position is probably a 10. You're not going to play him instead of Cole Palmer. And if you do, Palmer's going to be pissed off. So different ways of looking at it, guys. But I do think it seems like it's just a conversation at the moment. It doesn't seem like there's any genuine... Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anything genuine going on. I'll share this with you guys as well now that we're on the topic of Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich director Max Eberl: we've got no interest in doing anything in January. The Nkunku rumours: we're extremely happy with our squad. Tel: you can see he is not playing with freedom. It is up to us to give him time to find his freedom again. We have a squad equipped in terms of quality and quantity. So from a Bayern Munich perspective, I don't think there's really any rush from them. But also there's part of me that does think you're chatting absolute rubbish. You might be happy with your squad, but you want to improve your squad. And Nkunku's clearly going to improve Bayern Munich. And they're not stupid. Now, Bayern Munich, like, you go before they paid a lot of money for Harry Kane, they're not a massive club on spending, but in the modern market, you have to spend sometimes. And this is a player not only that is proven in football at the moment with Nkunku, who's 26, 27 years old. He was the best player in the Bundesliga at a time when Chelsea signed him. He was the best goal scorer, and that was for sure. And he would absolutely fit their system and what they're doing. His technical ability is good enough. His finishing is good enough. Why wouldn't they want him? So I call bullshit on that. I think that Bayern Munich are certainly having a conversation, at least. For them to say that, you know, or to imply that they're not having conversations, it's just disingenuous. It's not true. They'll absolutely be having conversations. Yeah. So I don't buy that at all. Right, let's see what else. Okay, Karim Adeyemi is not one of the strikers / wingers that Chelsea have made contact on for January or the summer. That was according to Matt Law. There was a little segment on this. So he then said slight amendment. So he's been told that Chelsea are not negotiating to buy Karim Adeyemi for January or the summer. They have a list of forwards / wingers they have made contact on, including Tel, who we've just discussed. Adeyemi could be an option on loan if nothing else comes on. So potentially a loan deal for Adeyemi, but nothing much more than that as it stands. I also want to give a big shout out, wrong one, to Stocks FC. Guys, if you want to buy your favorite football players, this is the place to do it. It is not an investment app or anything like that, so don't look at it like that. It's just where you can have a little bit of fun with your friends, prove your ball knowledge, and make a little bit of money as well. Check out this video and download Stocks FC. There's a link in the description as well as a QR code on screen. there you have it. Stocks FC. Check it out, guys. Highly recommend it. Good bit of fun as well. Let me know what you think. Anyway, let's continue on. So it looks like we could be looking potentially at a loan deal for Adeyemi, but I don't see how Dortmund would be incentivized to do that. But maybe I'm missing something here. I obviously haven't been keeping track of that player in particular. But yeah, I just heard somebody just said that Fenerbahce is interested in João Felix. Is there any truth to that? Fenerbahce, Jose Mourinho and João Felix? I don't think that's going to happen. Let's see what we're saying. The reason why they could get Jackson is for his near misses, but if we had goals in the other players, it wouldn't leave so bad. Who would I rather have? I'd probably rather have Tel. I think Tel fits into what we're doing very well, and he's versatile. So Tel would be my preference. Adeyemi for Noni. That's an interesting shout. We spoke about Noni yesterday on the podcast, and I think there's an underlying feeling that Chelsea could look to sell him in January if we don't see any improvements. I mean, he's certainly improved in terms of his work rate. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that Noni Madueke isn't a hard-working player. I almost dismiss the idea that he has a bad attitude as well. I think a lot of these things get taken totally out of context. We're not working with the modern version of Mario Balotelli. The guy trains hard. The guy clearly is professional, but he has off days. And I think that's what Maresca called him out for. And you still say as a professional, you shouldn't do that, but it happens. It does happen. So I'm not going to sit here and slate Noni, but it's the end product, isn't it? It's the end product. But he didn't have, he created chances against Bournemouth, but he set up a good chance for Jackson, but the ball was bobbling. It was high. But I thought that was good play from him to get in that position to create the chance anyway. He's a good dribbler. I still have a little bit of faith in Noni, but I wouldn't be opposed to selling him. Like, there is wingers out there that I would happily replace Madueke with, but that profile is very hard to come by. A player who it will just dribble. He'll come at you. He's not scared. He'll look at a defender, and instead of constantly passing backwards or just doing same old runs, running down using your pace but not actually dribbling, or cutting inside trying to shoot without actually getting past the man, you got someone who will drive at you. You don't know if he's going left or right. And he's got the willingness to go on his right-hand side as well and whip more balls in, which I've seen recently. So there's aspects of Madueke's game that I think have improved. But yeah, that's just generally. If that was all we cared about, Nicholas Jackson would be the best striker in the Premier League, wouldn't he? But, you've got to score goals. You've got to contribute in other games as well. I don't think Chelsea will make top four this season because I don't understand the pattern of Maresca playing well the first half of every game, then coming on in the second half of the game with no impact. Well, that's not been the story of our season, has it? It's just been something that recently we've had a dip. There's no doubt in that. But the manager's got to change something. I mean, I'm not against late substitutions because there's obviously a good reason for it. I think he wants the players on the pitch to be able to find the solutions themselves. I think that's part of it. And show that he trusts them and give them that confidence. But at the same time, you've got to win the fucking games. And if you don't make the changes, why are you the manager? Your job is literally to make changes during the match. Well, that's fair. It does sound like last season, absolutely. So, I mean, look, everyone knows my stance on the manager. I like Maresca. I think that, as with a lot of managers, you need a bit of fucking time. We need time. But if we don't finish in the top 4, I won't blame Maresca. I'll blame the board. You fucking sacked Poch. And you finished in the same position as last season. That's who I'll blame. I wouldn't blame Maresca. Maresca, for me, wouldn't get the blame. This is a guy who's just come from Leicester, and you're expecting him to do all these big things. And if he does it, fantastic. If he doesn't, I'm not blaming him. He's been put in a tough job with a very young squad and a high expectation. Very, very high expectation from the fan base. And I think he's handled himself over the course of this season, generally speaking. Maresca's handled himself very well. So, you know, I'm not going to sit here and fucking slate Maresca. If he continues to do this over the next 10 games and we see 81st minute substitutions and that's the first sub of the game, then you're having a slightly different conversation because you're going, you know, over a period, like everyone's going to have dips. Jackson's having a dip, right? He's not scoring as many goals. Still contributing other ways, but not scoring as many goals. And the manager's potentially having a little bit of a dip as well. How we rectify ourselves from that is something else. I spoke to my friend. I said this earlier. He doesn't think we're going to beat Wolves. Oh, come on, mate. It's Wolves. Fucking hell. I love Dazzling Dave's. Always Wolves fan TV. I want Wolves to stay up. But not because Chelsea gave them points. Someone else. So, yeah, everyone's very quick to react, quick to criticize. Oh, Maresca. I knew he should have made that substitution. No, you didn't. Shut up. You don't have a fucking clue. I'm not going to sit here and say I have a clue. What I do know is that in any walk of life, especially sport, things can happen quickly, but majority of times it takes time. It doesn't happen straight away. I'm not even giving you the whole trust the process spiel. I was giving you that last season. They fucked off the process because they sacked the manager after a season. So, you know, I'm here saying support the guy and see what he does. I think Maresca is perfectly capable, but, you know, we'll see. It's very hard to come in and, yeah, whatever. This is on the board for not getting what the manager wanted. Are you talking about Poch or Maresca? Who are you talking about here? I bet you are going to lose or draw the next game. The mentality is gone. Bloody hell. Come on, people. Liven up a little bit. Liven up. Realistically, no, if I'm honest. I don't think it will happen. I don't think we'll get a striker because we won't pay inflated prices in January. We won't do it. I think that the strategy with the striker is honestly partially based on obviously how they do for the rest of the season, because even though the lap's been very good, it's still a very short period, right? It's a very short period to say, wow, this guy's fantastic. Just like we said, Maresca. Let's imagine Barcelona were looking for a new manager. Maresca's got us in a title challenge up to December. And then he joins Barcelona because they think he's so good. Do you think they'd sign him after these past few games? Same thing with the lap, right? We've seen him play well for half a season. It might be a case of let's see what another 4 months does. Can he continue this? Can he maintain this form over a whole year rather than just a certain period? And also what happens with Ipswich is very relevant to this conversation, because if they get relegated, they're in a position where they have to sell. They will have to sell him. And they'll have to sell him for a cheaper price than if they were going to sell him in the Premier League. Now, we've had deals that have been big anyway, like when we bought Lavia, and now it was a lot of money considering Southampton were a championship club at the time. But I don't think Ipswich will be in a position to be able to demand that much money. He's the only player that comes to mind that they'll be able to sell for a good amount. So if you bought him in the Prem, you'd be looking at 50, 60 million. But maybe if they get relegated, you could get away with 40 million for Delap. And it seems silly because I'm almost penny pinching here, but I'm thinking how the directors would be thinking, saving 10, 20 million, but it is a risk. You don't know if Ipswich are going to get relegated or not. You don't know if that fee, which could be 50 million now, is going to go up to 70 million like John Durant at Aston Villa. You look back at that deal in the summer and you realise what a great signing that would have been and how good. I would have been chuffed. Absolutely chuffed. Not at the time. At the time, I was a bit like, don't even know who the guy is. After watching John Durant this season, he would have been the perfect alternative striker to Nicholas Jackson. And that, to me, is... And you got Omaridian as well, another player. Now, we would have paid an extremely inflated price for him. He's not worth the money we were going to pay. But it's still an alternative, isn't it? Because Mark Guiu gives you energy, but it's similar to Jackson in that sense, isn't it? You're not seeing a poacher. You're not seeing someone who's going to get on top of those crosses from Neto and Madueke and all these other players. Fun fact, Durant played in the MLS prior to coming to the Premier League. Who did he play for? Let's have a look. John Durant, MLS. Who did he play for? Was it Chicago Fire? Yes, he did play for Chicago Fire. Wow. Well, this is the thing that I was saying, Anton. A lot of people think that the issues we have at the moment are purely based on the fact that we're not scoring enough goals. That's not the main problem. The main problem is that we don't keep clean sheets. And this is a problem that we didn't talk about at the beginning of the season because we were scoring so many goals. But you can't do that and maintain that. It's just not possible. There will be a dip at some point. And I'm going to elaborate on that as well because it's not difficult to see. It's really not difficult. We're going to go back. We're going to go way back to the beginning. Right. City's probably not a great reference. So we'll start from Wolves. Yeah? We'll start from Wolves. Conceded 2, scored 6. Lost that one. Clean sheet against Bournemouth, clean sheet against West Ham, scoring lots of goals. Conceded 2, scored 4. Conceded 2, scored 4. And mistakes cost us in this game as well. We could have won this game if it wasn't for mistakes. Another mistake in there as well. So everyone tells me that you've got to score all these goals, but I don't think that that's been an issue. I really don't think that's been the problem. I mean, I'm looking at Ipswich and Everton. Obviously, that doesn't look great. From my perspective, we've just got to be better defensively. Like the mistakes we made in this game against Bournemouth, we could have won it easily. It could have been a simple, even a 1-0 win. Why does every game have to be 3-2 or 4-3? I know it's entertaining, but we literally conceded a fucking shit penalty. And then on top of that, because of the fact that we put ourselves under so much pressure, Bournemouth come in and score an unbelievable goal that I wasn't even that... Like, defensively, I couldn't criticise Achimpong too much. Maybe he could have blocked the shot, but it was a great goal. It was a great goal. So from my perspective, we just need to keep more clean sheets, guys. Yes, we need to score more goals as well. There's no doubt about it. But for you to say that is the primary reason we're not winning games, we have the win in our hands and we give the opponent points. We give it to them through silly mistakes. And that starts with Sanchez giving the ball away. And I don't think he was the main culprit against Bournemouth, but over the course of the season, there's been so many moments where he could have cost us points. He's been a problem. He's been good as well. He's saved us points at times. Against Bournemouth in the away fixture, he was man of the match. It's not enough because he has these massive highs and the lows are just as bad. And then defensively, you're working with Gusto and you're trying to invert him when he can't invert. You got Reece James who's never available. You got Fofana who's never available. You just don't have enough quality at the back as well. In terms of the centre-back, we haven't really got... We've got depth, but it's not good depth. It's not great depth. I mean, I like Chilwell. He's a starter for me. I like Tosin, but he's not on the same level. Disasi's not there. Badiashil's not there. No wonder we keep conceding goals. And that's why Chalobah is not a bad decision. From a footballing standpoint, it makes perfect sense. On the pitch, he's going to bring something straight away. I would be surprised if Chalobah doesn't start against Wolves. He will start. Because he's better than everything else we have. He was always better. And people say he's not, people say, well, his footballing ability. The fucking guy playing under Thomas Tuchel, man. He won trophies. He played in the system where we were passing the ball out. At times that was, slightly more pragmatic than what we do under Maresca, but more than capable of playing in this system and this team. Thank you very much, Tommy. Anton, big up to you, my friend. I don't know, man. I really don't know. That's my birthday weekend as well. So from my perspective, we're playing City at a good time, but we're also playing at a bad time because we are shy as well at the moment. We're not getting results. So depends how Maresca sets up. I think if we play pragmatic football in the away leg and we just admit that we're not going to dominate possession for the whole match, but we play a way that will hurt City like so many of these other teams had. You've got Brentford getting bloody points against them. Everyone's taking something off City this season. Then we will get something. We'll probably beat them. But if we go with the perspective of passing out from the back and causing ourselves issues, then City will still press us, we'll make mistakes, and they'll end up capitalising on it. So probably go for a draw, if I'm honest. That would be a fair result. Not sure I could see us beating them, but I'd be very happy with it. But I can't see it at the moment, but who knows? With our form, what centre-back would want to transfer in? I don't think they think too much about the last few games. They're looking at the heritage of the club. They're looking at the long-term plan. They're looking at their paycheck. And I think the paycheck is a portion of that. And then the footballing project as well. Chelsea's a massive club. We've got a lot of pull, guys. Let's not forget that. We as fans obviously go through these moments and we're through with the ups and downs. But players from abroad, am I going to play? Am I going to make a lot of money? Will I win some trophies or at least compete for them? And Chelsea can offer all three of those things. We can. Even in our shit seasons, like, we're still competing. Forget 2 years ago. Last season, we were in FA Cup semi-final, which we know we should have won. And we should have beat Liverpool as well. So although we didn't win those trophies, we're absolutely up there competing. We're giving players the opportunity, a realistic opportunity to come out and win. Not many clubs can offer that. Thoughts on Gurhi? I think he's a brilliant player. He would have been my preference over Chalobah, just because Chalobah comes in and if he settles well, like it just seems strange to move him on again. Why are you integrating him into the squad when there's no long-term plan? It's not even an emergency signing. You could have just kept the guy in the first place. You got a few good years out of him and then sell him for a profit, fine. But he was still a great part of our footballing plan, and I don't understand why we didn't keep him. I didn't understand. I thought it was a stupid decision, and I will never understand why there's been this massive agenda against Mark Guehi from the sporting side. It's totally out of order. And if I was him, I would have said, fuck off, Chelsea. I'm not coming back. You can do one. Or I would have done what Lewis did. Name the terms. I want a better parking spot. I want a customized locker. I want a new shirt number. What else did he say? Find me prozzies in West London. I'm only joking. That's just what Lewis said. But yeah, I mean, that's the main updates, guys, that we've got regarding all the latest Chelsea transfer news. I mean, if you've got any more questions, put them in as well. We've got 350 of you in the building at the moment. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Let's get up to 50 likes on YouTube. Push those likes up. Big up to you, Lucas. The football rocket, we have no depth in centre mid and centre strike. So we get worn out in second half. No better changes. I completely agree. The solution to that is Chukwuemeka. Bring back Chukwuemeka. People say bring back Andre Santos, but he's so important to Strasbourg that I don't think it makes much sense, if I'm honest. You bring in Chukwuemeka, he's in a side that they know they're going to get relegated. He didn't even have that much game time with them anyway. What's the benefit of that? What's the benefit of playing for Southampton? He has a realistic chance of getting actual minutes in the Premier League with Chelsea. And I'm all for it. Give him the minutes. Give the man the minutes. And Maresca's clearly a fan of him. He gave him time in pre-season. You could say, well, he gave Sterling time. But I think that you play players because you can see something could happen. And Chukwuemeka didn't just play; he played well. He was an underdog. He was a dark horse, probably the biggest dark horse of pre-season. The shining light. Scored goals against Inter Milan. I think there was another game in there as well that he scored. Can't remember off the top of my head. And he's contributed well. It'll give us defensive stability in the midfield. It'll give us fresh legs. And occasionally, if we want to give Caicedo or Enzo a rest, he will be another option that we can put in there. And we know he's capable of scoring goals, which is something else we lack from midfield at this moment in time. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Frank Lampard, but if he can contribute with a few goals, I don't think anyone's going to complain. Big up to you, Jesse. Why are the second half of games so bad compared to the first halves at the moment? I think part of that is due to fatigue, maybe, especially in the recent December period. I think part of that is fatigue. I know people don't want to say it. I think that's part of it. I think another part of it is that other teams just change and we don't change enough because we have such a great start. Why, if something works, why would you change it? Whereas Bournemouth said, Iriola said as well after the match, we weren't ourselves in the first half. And in the second half, we changed things up. And of course, they improved. So not everything is Chelsea, but we have to look at ourselves as well. From a second half perspective as well, if you're not playing well after 15 minutes of the second half and you've got 60 minutes that you've played, why not make the sub after 60 odd minutes instead of 80? I think Maresca would have a lot more fans on side if they could see proactive substitutions and tactical tweaks during the match. And that's something, by the way, we've given him a lot of praise for towards the beginning of the season. So why is it changed? Why is it that now the very thing that we said he was so good at compared to Pochettino, for example, last season, why is that now the overlying criticism on him? Is it because he doesn't trust the players that he has available to him on the bench? Is it because he thinks that he needs to give the players on the pitch more of a run out and almost sacrifice short-term success for a better long-term understanding? Having these players figure things out during tough moments later down the line could benefit the team. Or is it a case of he's just fucking clueless? Who knows? I don't know. These are all questions that we're asking, guys. But I mean, you could say that about practically every manager. I mean, Tuchel was brilliant, wasn't he? But part of this as well could be to do with keeping the players on side as well. You know, Tuchel was great at tweaking things in game, and he made a lot of changes. He rotated a lot, but he lost a lot of the dressing room as well. People fail to remember, that Thomas Tuchel lost the dressing room when he got sacked. Not the whole dressing room, but he lost a lot of it. And that was partly the club's fault. We could admit that, because there was a lot of players that need to be moved on. But I mean, every manager makes late subs. I think that's just an excuse that everyone says, so that there's got to be something else. It can't just be about the late subs. It could be in one or two matches he ends up doing the total opposite, and then what are we going to say? But I don't know. The board needs to learn from the Arsenal situation. We need a striker who could challenge Nicholas Jackson, not a potential striker. Big up to Wendy. I hope you're doing very well. Jesse says, we were useless all second half, and he brought Neto and Felix on with 10 minutes left. Back Maresca, but disgraceful game management. Well, what you can say is that the substitution certainly made an impact, because Felix came on and won the free kick, which then allowed us to get the equaliser, but we already conceded goals in that second half anyway. So one good thing, one bad thing. Sells for Strasbourg's goalkeeper before being sold to Nottingham Forest. Why didn't our owners think of allowing him to play for Chelsea? I haven't got a clue. We've got enough goalkeepers though, man. I don't think Sells is the solution. I think Jorgensen could be the solution. Why do we always have to venture out? Why can't we just use what we have? You need to start showing more goals in your videos. My friend, I cannot stand at the game and just record everything. Like you, I am just a football fan, and I happen to vlog. But it's not something that I want to do every single second. So I've got to enjoy the game as well. If I get the goal, I get the goal. If I don't get the goal, I don't get the goal. It's a bit like Neil Warnock. If we fucking score, we fucking score. And if we don't, we don't. But I do try my best, obviously. I try and capture as much as I can. But I will take the advice on board. And big up to everyone that's been watching as well. Just a reminder before I go, check out Stocks FC. You can buy your favorite football players and make money on them as well, as if they were a stock. Showcase your ball knowledge and make your presence known. There's a QR code on screen, as well as a link in the description. Guys, really appreciate you watching. Hopefully enjoyed the video. I will be updating you with as much news as I can over the rest of the transfer window. And without further ado, smash the like buttons. I will love you and leave you all. All the best, and speak soon.